What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to a different style of video. I think you guys see the title, you see the thumbnail. Today we are reacting to a video or a clip of an interview by Aaron Russo. And if you don't know who Aaron Russo is, he is the director of the film Trading Places, starring Eddie Murphy and I think Dan Aykroyd. I don't want to spoil the interview for anybody. I don't want to well, I will spoil it. It's about women's liberation. But I think that this video is interesting, and if we can entertain the idea of what he's saying to be true, then I think that we have to reconsider a lot of things in our country, especially when it comes to these social movements, right? These large social movements that we have in this country. So without any further interruption from me talking, let's play this video. And before I play the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you like this style of content, if you like seeing my ugly mug here on the camera talking, let me know. I'll make more. But let's get into it.
Well, one of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up their family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for women's lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble adventure.
That is some crazy stuff to think about. You know what I'm saying? I want to touch on the children first. If we look at, you know, how children are being educated today with these whole, you know what's going on with the gender situation in schools, how kids are being taught about that, and how parents are protesting it, all that stuff. I don't really need to go in deep on that, but one of the things I did want to touch on, and one of the things that I instantly thought of, and it's kind of crazy because I was thinking about this for a while. Like, I was thinking, like, where did the Manosphere come from? And I understand that in essence, you know, the Manosphere is a place where men can gain knowledge about finances, relationships, all that. But what has subsequently happened is you have this thing called men go the wrong way, where men are not interested in marriage. Men are not interested necessarily in having children. Men are not interested in committing to women. And I know that goes both ways, right? But if we look at what he said, right, and if we entertain the idea that it's true, then women's liberation was the catalyst to get us to where we are now. Like, if there was never women's liberation, I don't think MGTOW would exist. I don't think Red Pill would necessarily exist. And look, I'm not sitting here blaming the women because they're not at fault, because what happened was not an idea that they actually had. It was something that was being forced on them. It was a thought given to them, not a thought that originated in their own mind. And in times past, I would have used a term like ironic to describe the situation, but I think that it's more of a sad reality because, you know, for the past, you know, when women's lib start like late 60s, early 70s, for like the past like over 40 years almost, like this whole thing has been going on, and it's brought us to this point to where we have all-time high divorce rates. We don't have many nuclear families anymore. And the thing that I want to point out about having a nuclear family is, and I know like not all families are perfect, right? But generally speaking, there is a better chance for home ownership when you're married. There is a better chance of generational wealth being passed down. You know, all that gets extremely hard when you have a single parent household. Not to say that there aren't outliers and that these things don't exist in single parent households. It's less likely to happen. You know what I'm saying? And especially, in the black community, you know what I'm saying, there is a lack of generational wealth. Now that I can get into, like, I can go all day on that, but I won't. But if we're just keeping it in the context of what we're saying here, you know, what's happening is, like, from my perspective, is they want to create a system where there are poor people dependent upon the system. Point blank. That's what it is. And if you have men going their own way and you have women subscribing to feminist ideologies, then what's happening is, you know, there are no families being created. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. And I think that's dangerous. And I think that these so-called elitists understand the danger to them for nuclear families, because they don't want somebody potentially to rise up and challenge their power. You know what I'm saying? To challenge where they're at, because whether you agree with how they got their riches or not, their stuff's being passed down through generations, and they keep this kind of thing going to where they're at the top and everybody else is below them. But let's just say, you know, there are families out there. Well, let's just say, you know, the divorce rate was a lot lower, right? Let's say the divorce rate was around 10%, 15%. You know what I'm saying? I think over time, over generations, you're going to see wealthier and wealthier families, right? But if you keep people in their minds, right, you control their minds and tell them that, you know, you tell men it's not worth getting married, and then you tell women that men are the enemy and that you can do what a man can do, then you're creating conflict between the sexes when the conflict never existed in the first place. Like, humans we have existed on this planet for millions of years, but never have no shit like this ever happened. At least I don't think. You know what I'm saying? We've existed on this planet. Think about how long humans have been here. Think about how long we have been on this planet. We've never had no shit like this. Never. At least I don't think. I could be wrong. But to my knowledge, never, right? So once we realize that our perceptions of reality are being controlled by people who don't have our best interest in mind, then I think that we can start looking at these other social movements, right? Another good example of this is Black Lives Matter, which is a movement that I never supported from the beginning. That entire thing was a legal money laundering scheme, point blank. The people who ran that organization, they got all these donations and they just bought shit for themselves, right? On the guise of trying to help people that are being, you know, racially discriminated against by police, being fatally deleted by police. So I think that when it comes to these social movements, I think it's imperative that we have a deeper look at these so-called unelected figureheads of whatever movement that it is. And if they check out and the movement is organic, then cool. But if we start looking into them, start looking at the relationships and start looking at who they know and like who their circle is, and then we start seeing some shady shit, then I think that it's time to start shutting these movements down, because it's apparent, right, that if this is to be true, right, that this is to be true, which I'm okay with it not being true, I'm not trying to force that this is true down your throats. I'm willing to entertain and have an open discourse and discuss this, because I think this is important for not just, my community in particular. I think this is important for humanity and anybody that's going to be living in Western civilization. If this is to believe to be true, then we have to take a deeper look at these organizations. We have to take a deeper look at these movements. We have to take a deeper look at the people running these movements. Because having your perception controlled against your will, unknowingly, that's terrible. You know what I mean? Like, it's so sad that we don't have real freedom. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about this, you really think about it, don't think too hard. You might pop a blood vessel in your head or something like that. I don't want y'all getting headaches and shit. But if you think about this has deeper implications on the way that we currently view reality. It has very deep implications. And my advice to people is to not get so caught up in listening to these figureheads and holding their word as absolute truth, whether it be feminists, red pill, MGTOW, whatever. I think that what I say is, you have to look at yourself. You have to really look at you. Like, you have to look inside and figure out what it is that you actually want out of your own life. What it is that you want, your life to look like. What it is that you want your relationships to look like with people of the same sex and the opposite sex. Do you want to go your own way, do your own thing? That's fine, right? You have the right to do that. But at the same time, when you get to that destination, you can't look back and say that, you are being manipulated, because I think at this point that we are right now, we can't operate out of willful ignorance. You know what I'm saying? We have to be willing to we have to be willing to accept that everything that we know about reality is a fucking lie. You know what I'm saying? We have to accept that it's not fucking true. And the only way that we can find truth is by looking into our own selves, looking into our own being, because, nothing is really external. You know what I'm saying? It's like what we create in our mind projects out into the world. And that's why they put that stuff into the magazines. You know what I'm saying? That's why they put that into the newspapers. That's why they put it into the news, so that you see it, and then subconsciously you start creating like all this shit. That's how it works. They understand this. I don't want to go too deep, right? But I'm gonna take you like 20 feet down real quick. Okay. They understand how collective consciousness works. And really, you don't need that many people to do it. You just need 51%, which is not a lot. If you get more than half of the population to believe into something, to buy into something, and that could be any half of any population. If you get them to believe in something, to get them to think a certain way, it manifests into reality. It becomes real quicker. So my advice to everyone is, take a step back from absorbing like all these different people's opinions. Start developing your own. Start looking at the origins of all these movements, which is what I want to do. I really want to know where, this whole red pill thing came from, where this whole Manosphere thing came from. Is it organic? If it is, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's not, I'm not trying to take away from anything good that it has produced, because it has done some good, right? But I'm willing to explore that this is another manipulation, is what I'm getting at. And if it is, we need to stop it. We can't move forward, and we can't create a better world. We can't create a better society. We can't create open discourse if we're being constantly manipulated, you guys, And that's going to be my piece, right? And if you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, so comment down below. If you want to see more videos like this, you like it, let me know. Peace.